Welcome, truth seekers, to the Anunnaki Unveiled, the hidden truth beyond the myths. I'm your host, Tim Bryans, and today we're stepping into a story so vast, so mind-bending, it's going to rattle the foundations of everything you've ever been told about who we are and where we came from. This isn't just another podcast. This is a 10-episode odyssey into the shadows of history, a deep dive into a mystery that stretches from the dusty plains of ancient Mesopotamia to the stars above us right now in 2025. We're talking about the Anunnaki, beings the Sumerians called those who from heaven to earth came. Were they gods, extraterrestrials, a lost civilization, or something we're not even ready to name? Over these 10 chapters, we're peeling back the layers, piece by piece, until the hidden truth stares us in the face. This is episode 1, The Whisper of the Gods. So grab a seat, turn up the volume, and let's begin. Because once you hear this, there's no one hearing it. Let's set the stage. It's 4,500 BCE, give or take a few centuries. The world's a wild place, untamed, raw, full of roving tribes and endless horizons. But in one corner, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, what we now call Iraq, something extraordinary is happening. The Sumerians are rising. These aren't your average hunter-gatherers. They're building cities, Uruk, Eridu, Nippur, massive urban sprawls with mud brick walls and bustling markets. They're inventing the wheel, perfecting irrigation, and, here's the big one, creating the first known writing system, cuneiform, scratched into wet clay. Picture it, a stylus in hand, pressing wedge-shaped marks into a tablet, recording everything from grain tallies to star charts. This is the dawn of civilization as we know it. But what's driving it? Who's lighting the fuse? The Sumerians have an answer, and it's not what you'd expect. They point to the Anunnaki. So, who are these Anunnaki? The name itself is a clue. Anu means sky, Kai means earth, and the suffix ties them together. Beings bridging heaven and earth. The Sumerians didn't treat them like fairy tales or vague spirits. They wrote about them with the same precision they used for trade logs, names, ranks, jobs. Anu, their king, ruled from the heavens. His sons, Enlil and Enki, ran the show on earth. Enlil as the stern enforcer, Enki as the crafty innovator. There's Ninhursag, the mother figure, and a whole council of these beings, each with a role. The tablets, like the Enuma Elish, their creation epic, say the Anunnaki came from a place called Nibiru, a celestial body swinging through our solar system on a long elliptical orbit. Not a planet we'd recognize today, not Mars or Jupiter, but something rogue, mysterious, tied to their arrival. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. And yeah, it does, until you realize how serious the Sumerians were. These folks weren't spinning yarns around a campfire. They were obsessive record keepers. They mapped the stars, knew about planets like Uranus and Neptune we didn't discover until telescopes came along. Their math was base 60, think 360 degrees in a circle, 60 seconds in a minute, still with us today. Their ziggurats, those stepped pyramids, weren't just temples. They aligned with constellations like Orion and Sirius, built with angles we'd need computers to nail. So when they say the Anunnaki came from heaven to earth, it's not a metaphor, it's a claim. And here's where it gets wild. They didn't just visit, they got to work. Let's crack open one of their stories, the Atrahasis. It's like Sumer's version of Genesis, but with a twist. The Anunnaki show up and they're tired, exhausted from digging rivers and mining Earth's crust. They've got a problem. Manual labor sucks, even for gods. So Enki, the brainiac, pitches an idea. Why don't we make something to do it for us? They grab the clay of the earth. Could be dirt, could be early hominids. We'll dig into that later. And mix it with their own essence. Blood, spit, DNA, who knows? The result? Humanity. Version 1.0. Born not from divine love, but a cosmic assembly line. The tablets say we were made to bear the yoke, to work their mines, haul their gold. Gold, by the way, isn't just bling here. It's a lifeline, a resource tied to Nibiru's survival. More on that in a second. Gold's the thread that ties this together, and it's weirder than you think. The Sumerians say Nibiru's atmosphere was fading. Think ozone layer on life support. Their fix? Grind gold into tiny particles, blast it into the sky, and use it to reflect sunlight, patching their planet's shield. Sounds nuts, right? But modern science isn't laughing. Gold's a superconductor, a reflector. NASA's tinkered with similar ideas for climate fixes. So the Anunnaki land on Earth, scope out our deposits, Mesopotamia, Africa, maybe beyond, and we're their pickaxes. The Sumerians weren't subtle about this. Their art's full of gold, their kings wore it, their gods demanded it. It's not decoration, it's purpose. But here's where it twists. Nibiru. The Sumerians didn't call it a metaphor or a star. They gave it an orbit, a rhythm. Every 3,600 years, they said, it swings close, shaking things up. Scholars like Zecharia Sitchin, he's a lightning rod, love him or hate him, ran with this, claiming Nibiru's a real body, a Planet X hiding beyond Pluto. Critics trash him, say he mangled the translations, turned myths into aliens. Fair enough, Sitchin's a stretch sometimes, but the Sumerians knew too much. Planetary orbits, precession of equinoxes, to dismiss outright. What if Nibiru's not a planet, but a dwarf star, a comet, something we've missed? Astronomers today chase anomalies. Gravitational pulls out there, tugging our system. Could it be tied to this? Chapter 2, Echoes in the Stones. So we've got the Sumerians laying out this wild origin story, Anunnaki dropping from the sky, mining gold, engineering us from scratch. It's a lot to swallow, right? But if that's where it ended, just words on clay, we could chalk it up to imagination and move on. Except it doesn't end there. The Anunnaki's fingerprints, or boot prints, seem to be stamped across the planet, carved into stone, baked into ruins, whispered in legends. These aren't faint echoes. They're loud, persistent, and they're everywhere. Let's chase them, starting right back in Mesopotamia, then spiraling out to places that'll make your jaw drop. First stop, Sumer itself. Picture those ziggurats, massive step pyramids rising from the flat, muddy plains. The big one at Ur, called Etemenanki, the foundation of heaven and earth, towers over everything, its base wide enough to swallow a football field. Archaeologists say they're temples, places to kiss the sky and pray. But dig into the details and it's more than that. These things are built with baked bricks, millions of them, laid with precision we'd need lasers for today. The angles align with constellations, Orion's belt, Sirius, down to fractions of a degree. The Sumerians didn't have GPS or calculus, yet their star maps rival ours. How? The tablets say the Anunnaki measured the heavens, gave them the blueprint. These aren't just shrines, they're observatories, maybe even landing pads if you squint at the stories. Take the city of Uruk, first real urban sprawl, 4000 BCE. Walls stretch miles, gates carved with lions and serpents. Inside you've got sewers, canals, a grid layout, urban planning on steroids. The Epic of Gilgamesh calls it the city of the gods, and Gilgamesh himself, 2/3 divine they say, rules it. 2/3? Odd math, unless it's a nod to Anunnaki blood. The Sumerians didn't mess around. Every ziggurat's got a holy of holies at the top, off limits to most, where priests met the gods. Were they channeling Enki and Enlil, passing down orders? The stones scream purpose. Too big, too perfect for a random leap from mud huts. Now let's hop across the desert. Egypt, 3000 BCE. The pyramids of Giza hit you like a punch. 3 giants, Khufu's the biggest, lined up with Orion's belt so exact it's spooky. Each block's 2 tons, cut razor sharp, hauled from quarries miles away. No wheels, no cranes, just manpower and math were still reverse engineering. Egypt doesn't name drop the Anunnaki, but their gods echo the vibe. Ra, the sun god, rides a skyboat. Osiris, lord of the underworld, reborn like a cycle king. The pyramid texts, carved inside oldest religious writings, talk of star gods who came from the sky. Sound familiar? And the Sphinx, half lion, half man, stares east, guarding secrets. Erosion says it's older, way older, than the pharaohs. Was it pre-flood, an Anunnaki marker? Let's keep moving. Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, 9,600 BCE. This one's a gut punch. Massive T-shaped pillars, 20 feet tall, carved with snakes, scorpions, humanoid figures, some with belts, tools, eerie postures. Buried deliberately around 8,000 BCE, before Sumer even blinks. No houses nearby, just this temple, aligned with Sirius. Archaeologists scratch their heads. Hunter-gatherers don't build this. It's too early, too advanced. But if the Anunnaki were here pre-flood, teaching, guiding, maybe this is ground zero, a training camp for the reboot. The carvings feel like a message, etched for someone watching from above. Cross the Atlantic, Mesoamerica. Teotihuacan, 200 BCE, Mexico. The Pyramid of the Sun, third biggest in the world, mirrors Giza's math, aligned with Pleiades. The Avenue of the Dead stretches out, flanked by platforms like a runway. The Mayans later built Chichen Itza, same star obsession, tracking Venus with insane precision. Their Popol Vuh says creator beings shaped humanity from maize and divine breath. Across Peru, Nazca lines, giant geoglyphs, monkeys, birds, a humanoid called the astronaut, etched into desert, visible only from the sky. Who's the audience? Locals say sky gods drew them. The Incas hoard gold, tears of the sun, for divine tribute. Same pattern, structures, stars, sky beings. Let's widen the lens. India, 1500 BCE. The Rig Veda sings of shining ones in Vimanas, flying chariots, waging war in the heavens. Stone temples like Ellora, carved from solid rock, too perfect for bronze tools. China's got the Yellow Emperor, a sky lord dropping knowledge. Pyramids buried under hills. Easter Island, those Moai statues, face the stars, guarding something. Australia's Aboriginal tales whisper of sky ancestors who shaped the Dreamtime. It's not coincidence, it's a chorus. The Anunnaki, or beings like them, didn't just hit Sumer. They went global, leaving stone and story everywhere. Now here's the meat, the stuff we can touch. The Baghdad Battery, found near Sumer, 200 BCE. A clay jar, copper tube, iron rod, add vinegar, and it sparks electricity. Historians shrug, ritual object. But it's a battery, plain and simple. Why? The tablets mention Anunnaki tools of power, lightning in jars maybe? Then Greece, the Antikythera mechanism, 150 BCE. Gears, dials, a computer tracking planets. Tech we lost for a millennium. Bolivia's Puma Punku, stones sliced like butter, interlocked without mortar, dated pre-Inca. Locals say sky gods built it overnight. These aren't flukes, they're breadcrumbs. Tech too early, too weird. But if this is real, if the Anunnaki's mark spans continents, tech, time, why isn't it screaming from every history book? Why is it tucked in dusty corners? Here's a thread to tug. The evidence keeps slipping away. Thousands of Sumerian tablets, tens of thousands, sit in museum basements, untranslated, off limits. Göbekli Tepe's half-dug, funding stalls. Nazca's restricted, Puma Punku's ignored. The Smithsonian's got whispers of lost finds, giant bones, odd skulls, swept under rugs. Private collectors, billionaires, royals, snap up relics at auctions, lock them in vaults. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, just strange. Who benefits from keeping this quiet? The ones sitting pretty on top, maybe? The ones who don't want us asking, who built this and why? These echoes aren't fading, they're shouting. Stones too big to lift, star maps too sharp to guess, artifacts too advanced to explain. The Anunnaki weren't a Sumerian exclusive. They're a global ghost, haunting every culture that reached for the sky. And if someone's bearing the proof, it's because those echoes still matter, maybe more than we know. Chapter 3, The Gold of the Gods. So we've got these echoes in the stones, ziggurats, pyramids, carvings, screaming across the planet that the Anunnaki weren't just a Sumerian fever dream. They left tracks, big ones, from Mesopotamia to the Andes. But here's the question gnawing at us now. Why? Why'd they come? What dragged these sky beings down to our muddy little rock? The Sumerians don't leave us guessing. They point to something simple, shiny, and downright bizarre. Gold. Not for crowns or coins, but for survival. Let's dig into this, because once you see the gold thread, it ties everything together in ways that'll keep you up at night. Picture Mesopotamia, thousands of years back, before the flood, before the cities really pop off. The Atrahasis tablet sets the scene. The Anunnaki land, boots on the ground, and they're working. Digging canals, scraping earth, pulling up resources. But they're not happy, grumbling like overworked miners on a deadline. The text says they bore the toil, their hands blistered from labor no god should endure. Imagine it. Towering figures, maybe 8 feet tall, maybe more, who knows? Sweating under an alien sun, hacking at dirt. Why? Gold. The tablets don't mince words. They needed it, bad. Not to flaunt, but to save their home. Nibiru. Let's linger there. The Sumerians call it a wandering star, a body with a 3,600-year orbit that swings it close, then flings it far. Their star charts, etched on clay, mark it like a VIP, not some random speck. The story goes its atmosphere's collapsing. Think a planet choking on its own decay. Too much radiation, not enough shield. Their fix? Gold, ground into dust, sprayed into the sky to reflect sunlight. Trap heat, patch the holes. Crazy, right? But hold up, modern science nods at this. Gold's a freak of nature. It doesn't rust, conducts like a dream, reflects infrared like a mirror. NASA's played with gold nanoparticles for spacecraft shields. Climatologists muse about geoengineering with metals. The Anunnaki weren't guessing. They knew gold's magic. Back to Earth. They find gold. Mesopotamia's got some. But Africa's the jackpot. The Sumerians traded it, wore it, revered it. Their art's obsessed. Kings draped in gold cloaks, goddesses with gold eyes. The Enuma Elish says the Anunnaki set up stations, bases, mines across the land. Think South Africa today. Ancient mines, some 100,000 years old, shafts dug with precision no Stone Age tribe could touch. Archaeologists shrug, early humans, but the dates flirt with Sumer's timeline. Were these Anunnaki pits? The tablets say they worked us hard. The black-headed ones, they called us, hauling ore until they couldn't stand it anymore. That's where it flips. The Anunnaki hit a wall. Labor's brutal, even for gods. Enki, the sly one, steps up. Picture him in some proto-lab, mud walls, flickering torches, staring at a lump of clay. The Atrahasis gets vivid. He calls Ninhursag, his sister, the Lady of Life. They grab something local, maybe Homo erectus, hunched and hairy, and crack it open. Let's mix our essence, Enki says. Blood drips, chants rise, and from the muck comes us, Homo sapiens, built to work. Not poetic creation, it's engineering. The text says we're to bear the yoke, to free the gods. Gold's the mission, we're the mules. Let's chew on that. They didn't just want workers, they wanted efficiency. Enlil, the taskmaster, runs the mines like a dictator. Order, quotas, no mercy. Enki's different. He's tinkering, tweaking. The tablets hint he likes us, sees potential. He teaches. Farming sprouts along the Tigris. Cuneiform scratches out laws. Was he rogue or part of the plan? Either way, gold flows up. Rivers glitter with it. Ziggurats gleam. Sumer's kings wear it like a badge, a divine handshake. But why gold everywhere? Egypt's pharaohs bury it, flesh of the gods. The Incas call it sweat of the sun, hoard it for sky lords. India's Vedic gods fight over golden nectar. It's not random, it's memory. Zoom out, gold's not just ancient bling. Fast forward to Greece, 1200 BCE, Mycenaean tombs stuffed with it, masks hammered thin as paper. Rome's emperors mint it, conquer for it. The Americas, Aztecs drown in it, conquistadors bleed for it. Today, 2025, gold's still king. Fort Knox guards it, markets crash without it, jewelers hawk it. Ever wonder why? Sure, it's rare, pretty, but this feels deeper. The Sumerians said gold tied us to the Anunnaki. Our job, their lifeline. Are we chasing it because they did? Is it instinct burned into us from day one? Let's push it further. If gold was their goal, why stick around? The tablets don't say they packed up post-mine. Enlil digs in, sets up kings, demands tribute. Enki lingers, teaching, meddling. Did they split? Enlil's crew ruling, Enki's playing long game. Some say they blended in, kings with divine right, priests with star secrets. Others think they bounced to Nibiru, leaving us ticking until the next orbit. That 3,600-year clock, last big swing, the flood, 10,000 BCE-ish. Count it up, it's due. Astronomers chase Planet 9, a ghost pulling strings out there. Coincidence? Or a pulse we're still dancing to? Now here's the shadow creeping in. If gold's this big, if it's why we're here, why is it half buried in myth? Sumer's tablets spell it out, but they're scattered. Thousands untranslated, locked in museum crypts. Mines in Africa, barely studied, brushed off as primitive. Gold's role in ancient tech, like those Egyptian light bulbs at Dendera, gets laughed at, filed away. Private hands snatch relics. Billionaires bid on Sumerian seals, hoard them in mansions. Ever notice how fast the weird stuff vanishes? The elites, governments, collectors sit on gold piles, literal and figurative. If the Anunnaki's gold rush shaped us, knowing that might shift the game, power doesn't like shifts. Gold's not just metal, it's a chain. From Sumer's mines to Wall Street, it binds us. The Anunnaki needed it. We crave it. Did they leave us hooked? A cosmic addiction? Or is it a clue? Proof they're still out there waiting? Either way, it's in our hands now. Figuratively, maybe literally. The stones showed us their reach. The gold shows us their why. And it's only the start. Chapter 4. The Code Within Us. We've been chasing the Anunnaki's trail, ziggurats pointing to the stars, gold tying us to their survival. It's a cosmic heist story, with us as the hired hands. But here's where it gets personal, where the rubber hits the road, or the clay hits the stylus, I guess. If the Anunnaki made us, if we were their gold-digging grunts, they didn't just slap us together from mud and call it a day. They left something in us, something deep, something we carry right now in 2025, in every cell of our bodies. Let's crack open our DNA and see what's ticking inside. Because if they rewrote us, the code's still there, and it's whispering secrets. Back to Sumer. The Atrahasis lays it out raw. The Anunnaki are fed up, hands raw from shovels, backs bent from mines. Enki, the tinkerer, steps into the spotlight. Picture this, a dim chamber, walls slick with damp, torches spitting smoke. He's pacing, muttering, "We need a fix." Ninhursag's there, his sister, the lady of the rib. Yeah, that rib vibe echoes later. They've got clay of the earth, maybe dirt, maybe an early hominid stumbling through the savannah. Homo erectus, hunched, grunting, a million years of instinct but no spark. Enki's got a plan. Let's mix our essence. The tablet says they spill blood, divine blood into the mix. Chants rise, tools clatter, and from that stew comes us, Homo sapiens, eyes wide, hands ready to work. Essence, what's that mean? The Sumerians don't spell it out. They're not handing us a lab report, but think about it. Blood's the carrier, life, identity, the blueprint. Today we'd call it DNA, the double helix, the code that builds us. Were they gene splicing 200,000 years ago? It's not as nuts as it sounds. Our genome's a puzzle. 46 chromosomes, 2 less than chimps or gorillas. Somewhere, 2 fused, bam, we're us. Science pegs it around 200,000 BCE, right when Sumer says the Anunnaki rolled in. Coincidence? Maybe. But then there's the junk, 97% of our DNA doesn't code for proteins. Most call it garbage, evolutionary leftovers. What if it's not? What if it's their signature, alien markers we haven't decoded? Let's paint the scene. Enki's not just slapping genes together, he's crafting. The tablets say the first humans, like Adapa, the wise one, aren't drones. Adapa's sharp, too sharp. He's offered eternal life by Anu, up in the Sky Council, but Enki pulls him back. Stay mortal. Why? Control, maybe. Enlil's looming, wanting obedient tools, not rivals. But Adapa's a hint. We're not blank slates. Fast forward, 50,000 BCE, the great leap forward. Caves go from grunts to art, Lascaux's bulls, Altamira's bison. Tools get clever, language blooms. No other species jumps like that. Was it Enki's tweak kicking in? A spark from their code? Zoom in closer, our bodies. Ever notice we're weird? Our skulls fuse late. Babies born soft-headed, vulnerable. Chimps don't do that. Our backs lousy for climbing, prone to snapping. Our jaws weak, crowded, wisdom teeth a mess. Evolution shrugs, trade-offs. But what if it's design? Lloyd Pye, he's fringe, sure, called us a mashup, primate base, alien upgrade. Then there's blood, Rh negative, 15% of us. No rhesus protein, unlike most mammals. No clear origin, docs say it's a mutation, but it's rare, old, tied to Basque folk, weird skulls in Peru. Folklore whispers of star blood. A stretch? Maybe. But our genome's got gaps, missing links science can't pin. Let's go wilder. The flood, Sumer's reset button. The Epic of Gilgamesh says Ziusudra survives, but the rest, wiped. Post-flood, king lists show lifespans crashing, from thousands of years to hundreds, then us. Did they tweak again? Dial back the divine? Genesis echoes it. Methuselah hits 969, then we're stuck at 80. Was it punishment or pruning? The Anunnaki made us hybrid, part them, part earth. That mix could explain our quirks. Smart enough to build, dumb enough to obey, but it's not static. Our DNA is a time bomb, ticking with potential they might not have planned. Today, 2025, we're mapping it. The Human Genome Project, 2003, cracked us open. 3 billion base pairs, sequenced, stored. But how much stays quiet? Geneticists find anomalies, odd repeats, unexplained stretches. Ancient DNA's hotter. Neanderthal genes in us, Denisovans too. But older stuff? Elongated skulls from Paracas, Peru, double parietal plates, not human standard, gets sampled, then vanish. Labs stall, funding dries, results lock up. Big pharma, governments, they own this tech. Ever wonder why junk DNA stays junk? If it's Anunnaki code, decoding it might flip the script. Show us we're not just theirs. Who's got the keys? The ones with the patents, the vaults, the power? Let's stretch it. What's in that code? Creativity, music, art, rockets, stuff apes don't dream of. Aggression, wars, empires, maybe Enlil's edge. Curiosity, telescopes, probes. Enki's gift. We're obsessed with the stars. SpaceX, NASA, chasing Mars like it's home. Is it instinct or a call? Nibiru's orbit, 3,600 years, could wake something. Scientists toy with CRISPR, gene editing's here. What if we stumble on their markers, flip a switch they left? The flood trimmed us. Next time we might outgrow the scissors. Imagine this. Every cell's a story, ours and theirs. Gold got them here. Genes kept us going. The stones showed their reach, the gold their why. Now the code's the how. It's in us, humming, waiting. And if someone's sitting on the manual, elites, labs, whoever, they're not talking. But we are. This isn't just history, it's a mirror reflecting what we might become. Chapter 5, The Waters of Reset. We've got the Anunnaki's code humming in our veins, gold-driven, gene-tweaked, a hybrid spark that's carried us from Sumer's minds to now. But the story doesn't roll smooth from there. Something big happens. something that wipes the board and starts it over. The Sumerians don't whisper it, they shout it. The flood, a deluge that drowns the world, resets the game. It's not just their tale, it's everywhere, etched in clay, stone, memory. Did the Anunnaki pull the plug? And if they did, why? Let's wade into the waters, because this isn't just a washout, it's a reckoning. Picture Mesopotamia pre-flood, thousands of years after the Anunnaki land. Humanity's humming, mud brick towns swell into cities, fields stretch green along the rivers. The Epic of Gilgamesh paints it vivid. People chatter, markets buzz, kids run wild. But the Anunnaki aren't smiling. The tablets, like the Atrahasis, get dark. Enlil, the hardliner, storms into a council chamber, ziggurat high, walls gleaming with torchlight. He's snarling. They're too loud, too many, too messy. Us, humanity, we've gone off script. Gold's still flowing, sure, but we're not the quiet drones he wanted. Enki's been teaching, writing, farming, ideas, and it's chaos. Enlil's fix, drown it. The council's tense. Anu, the Sky King, looms over them, maybe from Nibiru via some cosmic Skype. Ninhursag balks. They're ours, but Enlil wins. The Gilgamesh version says they open the sluices of heaven. Rivers burst, skies unload. Picture it. Black clouds choke the sun. The Tigris and Euphrates roar over banks. Mud huts dissolve like sugar. Screams drown in the surge. Days, weeks of water swallowing everything. But Enki, he's sly. He leaks the plan to Ziusudra, Sumer's Noah. Build a boat, he whispers, reed and pitch, big enough for family, animals, seeds. Ziusudra rides it out, lands on a peak, Ararat maybe, when the rain stops. The rest, gone. That's Sumer's take, but it's not solo. Egypt's got none, the primal flood, washing the world clean. India's Manu sails a deluge, guided by a fish god. Greece, Deucalion and Pyrrha float as Zeus drenches the earth. The Mayas Popol Vuh, water gods erase a failed race. Native Americans, Hopi, Navajo, talk of drowned lands, survivors on peaks. Over 500 flood myths, coast to coast, pole to pole. Same beats, sky gods rage, water rises, a few cling on. Dates cluster, 10,000 BCE, give or take. Science nods. Ice age ends. Glaciers melt fast. Sea levels jump 400 feet. Black Sea floods, Mediterranean spills. Natural? Sure. But the timing's eerie. Right when Sumer says the Anunnaki hit reset. Let's dig into that. 12,000 years ago, end of the Pleistocene, Earth's a mess. Ice sheets crack. Oceans surge. Göbekli Tepe pops up right after. 9,600 BCE. Those T-pillars we talked about, carved by survivors. Underwater ruins. Japan's Yonaguni, Cuba's sunken blocks, hint at cities lost to the tide. Geologists map it. Catastrophic floods, not slow creeps. The Sumerians say the Anunnaki timed it. Nibiru's orbit swinging close, maybe. Gravitational pull stirring the pot. Or tech, weather control, dam-busting tools. The Enuma Elish brags they commanded the elements. If they could seed life, why not drown it? Post-flood, it's not over. Ziusudra's spared, Enki's soft spot, but the Anunnaki stick around. The tablets say they bless the survivors. Tweak the reboot. Sumer's king lists, wild stuff, list rulers like Alulim reigning 28,800 years pre-flood, then dropping sharp post-deluge. Divine blood thinning? Genesis mirrors it. Noah's kin live centuries, then fade. Were they pruning us, dialing back the hybrid juice? The flood's a filter, obedient stock survives, rebels wash away. After, cities rebuild. Eridu, ziggurats rise again, tighter control. Enlil's back in charge, Enki's quieter. It's a new game, but same players. Zoom out, floods haunt us. Mesopotamia's rivers still rage. Gilgamesh's Uruk drowned once. Egypt's Nile floods yearly, sacred chaos. China's Yellow River, China's sorrow, wipes villages even now. Today, 2025, climate's wild, seas climb, storms batter coasts. Prepper bunkers pop up, movies churn out flood flicks. 2012, the day after tomorrow. Is it memory, instinct? The Anunnaki baked water into our story. Destruction, rebirth. Every culture's got a boat, a peak, a survivor. Were they warning us or programming us? Now here's the shadow again. Flood tales are loud, clay tablets, oral lore, but details, fragmented. Sumer's records, thousands. Mulder in museum crypts, half read. Göbekli's dig stalls, funding cuts, shrugs. Yonaguni's dismissed. Natural rock, they say, despite straight edges. The British Museum's got flood tablets. The Louvre hoards more. Public sees scraps. Private digs, elites fund them, turn up relics, then go dark. Ever notice how fast flood anomaly talk gets buried? Scholars scoff myths, but underwater cities, giant bones, odd dates pile up off record. If the Anunnaki pulled this, proof might shake the narrative. Who's on top, who's not? Power likes a clean slate, not a messy reset. Imagine it, water as a weapon, not nature's tantrum, but their lever. The flood didn't just drown us, it reshaped us. Survivors, Ziusudra, Noah, carry the code, the orders. We rebuild, but on their terms. Gold flows, cities rise, control tightens. Today we're flood obsessed. Dams, levees, space arcs. Is it us or them echoing through? Nibiru's orbit, 3,600 years, ticks closer. Another wash? Or our turn to ride it? The stones mark their reach, gold their why, genes the how. This water's the when, and it's not done. Chapter 6, Shadows in the Now. The flood's waters recede, but the Anunnaki don't. They linger, tweaking, guiding, fading into myth. We've tracked them through stones, gold, genes, a deluge that reset us. The tablets stop short of an exit. They don't say, and then they left. So where'd they go? Did they bounce back to Nibiru, leaving us to simmer? Die off in some cosmic crash? Or stick around, shadows stretching into right now, 2025? Let's hunt their traces, not in ruins this time, but in the tech pulsing around us, the blood in our veins, the power steering our world. Because if they're still here, it's not just history, it's today. Start with tech, Sumer's legacy. The Anunnaki didn't just hand us shovels. The Atrahasis says Enki taught us writing, math, irrigation, seeds of civilization. But scraps hint at more. The Baghdad Battery, 200 BCE near Sumer. A clay jar with copper and iron, spitting voltage with a splash of acid. Historians call it a fluke, ritual jar. But it's a battery, crude but real. Why? The tablets mention tools of power, sparks in the hands of gods. Then Greece, the Antikythera mechanism, 150 BCE. Gears whirring, tracking stars, centuries ahead of its time. India's Vedas, Vimanas, flying chariots, blazing through ancient skies. Egypt's Dendera light bulbs, hieroglyphs of glowing tubes. These aren't accidents, they're echoes. Tech too early, too strange. Fast forward 2025, we're living sci-fi. Rockets pierce the sky weekly. SpaceX, Blue Origin, China's Tiangong humming in orbit. AI churns code faster than we can blink. ChatGPT's airs run cities. Fusion's teasing power. Quantum computers hum in labs. This isn't linear, it's a leap, exponential. Sumer said Enki sparked our minds. Did he plant this? Look at space. Billionaires chase Mars like it's a calling. Telescopes hunt Planet 9, a ghost tugging our system. NASA's coy, gravitational anomalies, they say. Nibiru's orbit, 3,600 years, ticks close. Are we reverse engineering their leftovers? Buried tech, crashed ships, or just catching up to their blueprint? Now bloodlines, stickier stuff. Post-flood, Sumer's king lists go wild. Elulim rules 28,800 years. Then lifespans crash. Divine DNA fading? Egypt's pharaohs claim it, sons of Ra, elongated skulls like Akhenaten's, weirdly alien. China's Yellow Emperor, skyborn, centuries old. Mesoamerica's Quetzalcoatl, feathered god, exiled teacher. These aren't myths, they're pedigrees. Today, royal families, old money, trace back forever. The Windsors, Rothschilds, dynasties guarding lineage like gold. Other negative blood, 15% of us, pops up odd. Basque roots, Peruvian skulls, no primate match. Star blood, whispers say. No proof it's Anunnaki. But why the secrecy? Elites don't post their DNA on 23andMe. Let's widen it. Power's the thread. Gold still rules. Fort Knox, central banks, 2,025 markets trembling without it. Hierarchies stack high. Governments, CEOs, tech moguls, pyramids everywhere. Sumer said the Anunnaki loved order, Enlil's iron fist. Today's elites mirror it. Billionaires buy islands, hoard relics, Vatican archives, Sumerian tablets locked tight. Private estates flaunt cuneiform seals. Sotheby's auctions them for millions, names redacted. Ever notice how fast ancient tech talk gets squashed? Fringe gets labeled crackpot, digs vanish into corporate hands, oil firms, pharma, old families. If the Anunnaki's influence lingers, who's got the most to lose if we spot it? Push it further, culture's soaked in it. Religion, Sumer's gods spawn Babylon's ripple out. Genesis, let us make man, plural, Anunnaki echo. Angels, floods, councils, tablet vibes, secret societies, Masons, Rosicrucians, obsess over star lore, ancient builders. Today, Davos summits, Bilderberg whispers, power pools quiet, tech giants patent weird stuff, anti-gravity whispers, energy oddities, then bury it. Nibiru's shadow, Planet Nine's pull, stirs astronomers, but headlines dodge it. Why? If it's real, if it's close, someone's tracking it. Satellites, scopes, bunkers, and they're not chatting. Here's the kicker, us now. February 26th, 2025. Floods batter coasts, gold spikes, space race heats up. Preppers build arcs, literal ones, while billionaires eye the stars. Our tech's Anunnaki flavored. Rockets mimic Vimanas, AI mimics Inky's gifts. Bloodlines hint at heirs, Rh-negative quirks, old families clutching power. Societies their mold, gold-driven, pyramid-topped. Nibiru's orbit, last flood, 10,000 BCE, math says it's near. Are we prepped for a reunion, a signal, or just dancing their dance, blind? The shadows aren't ancient. They're now in our screens, our veins, our skies. Imagine this, their tech hums underground, bases, beacons, while ours reaches up. Blood ties us, hybrid sparks in CEOs, rebels. You. Power hoards their past, vaults stuffed, digs hushed, because it's not dead, it's alive. The flood reset us. This moment might redefine us. Gold, genes, water. They're threads and we're weaving the next knot, whether they like it or not. Chapter 7, The Invisible Chains. We've got the Anunnaki's shadow stretching into 2025, tech humming with their echoes, bloodlines hinting at their heirs, power clutching their relics. The flood reset us, but it didn't erase them. It reshaped us. Now let's peel back another layer, because this isn't just about gold mines or gene tweaks. It's about control. The Sumerians say the Anunnaki didn't just make us work. They built a system, a cage so slick we're still pacing inside it. From ancient ziggurats to today's skyscrapers, the chains aren't iron. They're invisible, woven into society itself. Let's tug at them and see what holds. Rewind to Sumer. Post-flood, the world's raw, survivors scrambling. The tablets, like the Enuma Elish, say the Anunnaki don't waste time. Enlil, the enforcer, storms in. Picture him barking orders from a ziggurat's peak, robes snapping in the wind. He's got no patience for chaos. Humanity's a mess, too free after Enki's lessons. His move? Kings. The Sumerian king list isn't shy. Rulers descended from heaven, chosen by the gods. Ululim, first king of Eridu, 28,800 years on the throne. Pre-flood. Post-deluge. Lifespans drop, but the vibe stays. Divine right, top-down rule. These aren't tribal chiefs. They're proxies, Anunnaki middlemen. Zoom in. Uruk, 4000 BCE. First city, real urban sprawl. Walls rise, gates gleam with lion reliefs. Power shouting loud. The ziggurats, the heart. Itamananki looms. Stairs climbing to a holy of holies. Priests scurry up, kings kneel below. People toil outside. It's not just worship, it's command. Taxes roll in, grain, gold, tracked on clay ledgers. Laws carve order. Hammurabi's code later echoes it. Eye for an eye, rank matters. Enki's gifts, writing, farming, turn tools. Cuneiform tallies harvests. Canals leash rivers. Freedom's not the goal, structure is. The Anunnaki didn't want rebels, they wanted gears in a machine. Spread it out. Egypt, 3000 BCE. Pharaohs strut asins of Ra, living gods. Pyramids, Giza's giants, double as tombs and thrones, anchoring power. The Nile's flood, yearly chaos, gets tamed by canals, priests dictating who eats. China, Yellow Emperor, 2600 BCE, skyborn, laws from the heavens. Indus Valley, Harappa's grids, waterworks, order carved in brick. Mesoamerica, Olmecs, then Maya. Kings perch on pyramids, blood spilled to sky gods. Same playbook. Rulers bridge earth and sky, people stack below. The Anunnaki stamp, Enlil's iron fist, presses everywhere. Hierarchy as holy writ. Post-flood, it hardens. Sumer's kings reign centuries, then lifespans crash. Divine juice thinning or deliberate. Genesis mirrors it. Methuselah's 969 years fade to Moses' 120. Control tightens. Cities bloom, but under whips. Babylon rises. Nebuchadnezzar's ziggurat apes Sumers. Gods morphed, but same vibe. Rome. Emperors claim Jupiter's blood. Legions enforce it. Feudal lords, Renaissance popes, power pyramids stack higher. The Anunnaki fade to myth, but the system? It's concrete. Kings, priests, elites, always chosen, always above. Fast forward, 2025. Look around, governments tower, capitals gleam like ziggurats. Washington's domes, Beijing's halls, symbols shouting order. Corporations, Amazon, Google, rule like kings. CEOs perched in glass spires. Banks hoard gold. Fort Knox, Swiss vaults. Markets quake without it. Taxes roll in, digital now, but same game. Laws pile up, codes thicker than Hammurabi's, rank still matters. Surveillance, cameras, phones, tracks us tighter than Sumer's scribes. Enlil's dream, order, obedience, feels baked in. Our DNA craves it. Psychology says we defer to leaders, hoard status, build systems. Nature or nurture from above? Pause, sound of a crowd murmuring, then a soft click like a lock snapping shut. Let's push it. Religion's the glue. Sumer's gods, Anu, Enlil, spawn Babylon's Marduk, ripple out. Egypt's Ra morphs to Aten. Akhenaten's one god push. Judaism, let us make man. Plural, Anunnaki echo. Angels, floods, councils. Tablet vibes bleed through. Christianity, God's throne, heaven's hierarchy. Islam, submission, divine law. All top down, all order. Were these seeds planted to keep us in line? Secret societies, Masons, Templars, obsess over builders, stars. Today, Davos, G7, Bilderberg, power pools quiet, elites nodding to old scripts. The Anunnaki loved control. Did they script faith too? Now the shadow, why's this quiet? Sumer's tablets, tens of thousands, molder in museum crypts, untranslated. King lists, wild lifespans, laughed off as poetry. Ziggurat digs stall, funding dries, artifacts vanish. Private hands scoop them. Sotheby's auctions, Sumerian seals, buyers anonymous. Vatican archives, flood tales, star maps, locked tight. Ever notice how fast ancient hierarchy talk gets sidelined? Scholars shrug, myths, but anomalies pile off record. Giant thrones, odd crowns, hushed finds. If the Anunnaki rigged this, proof might crack the pyramid. Who's on top stays there by design. Picture it, society's their cage. Gold flows up, power stacks high. Today, banks crash, wars flare. Tech binds us. Same game, new tools. Nibiru's orbit, 3,600 years, ticks closer. Are we prepped for inspection, obedient cogs? Our genes push order, kings, CEOs, but also rebellion. Sumer's Adapa defied, we do too. The flood reset us. This system holds us. But cracks show, hackers, dreamers, us asking why. The chains aren't iron, they're us, and we're rattling them. Chapter 8, The Fire of Defiance. The Anunnaki system's tight, kings perched high, gold flowing up, society locked in their mold. From Sumer's ziggurats to 2025 skyscrapers, the invisible chains hold fast. Order's their game, obedience our role. But here's the twist, not everyone played along. The tablets don't just sing their praises, they whisper dissent, flickers of fire that refuse to bow. Rebels, human, hybrid, maybe divine, lit sparks against the gods. Let's fan those flames because defiance isn't just a footnote. It's the pulse that might have cracked their plan wide open. Start in Sumer, pre-flood, chaos brewing. The Atrahasis gives us Adapa, Enki's pet project, first wise man. Picture him, sharp-eyed, standing tall in Eridu's dust, hands stained from clay tablets he's scrawled with star secrets. Enki's taught him, too much, Enlil growls. The tablets say Anu calls him up, sky council, shimmering thrones, offers immortality, a sip from the god's cup. Adapa's close, divine spark flaring, but Enki yanks him back. Don't drink, he warns. Stay mortal, stay ours. Why? Control. Adapa's too bright, a threat, but that hunger, knowledge, eternity burns. Was he a pawn nudged to rebel, or the first to squint at freedom? Post-flood, it flares bigger. Gilgamesh, king of Uruk. The epic paints him wild. Two-thirds divine, Anunnaki blood, raging through his city, walls shaking under his fists. He's no drone. He's restless, chasing immortality like it's owed him. Picture it, he storms the cedar forest, hacks down Humbaba, Enlil's watchdog, axe dripping sap in defiance. Then Utnapishtim, the flood survivor, dangles the secret, a plant deep underwater. Gilgamesh dives, snags it, loses it to a snake, curses echo over the waves. He's not bowing, he's clawing at their limits, a hybrid king spitting in their face. Enlil's furious, Enki's quiet. Split ranks, maybe? Zoom out, Egypt, 1350 BCE. Akhenaten, pharaoh with a stretched skull, alien vibe, flips the script. Picture him in Amarna's son, tearing down Ammon's priests, raising Aten, one god, solar fire. No more pantheon, his rules. Carvings show him odd, long neck, wide hips, family too. Was he Anunnaki touched, breaking their mold? Priests hated him, erased him fast. Greece, Prometheus, Titan torchbearer. He steals fire, knowledge, power from Zeus, chains be damned. Picture him on that rock, eagle tearing his guts, grinning through blood. Worth it. Same spark, defying skylords, gifting us heat. Keep going. Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl, feathered serpent, dawnbringer. The Aztecs say he taught writing, farming, then sailed off, banished by rival gods. Picture him on a raft, plumes trailing, promising return. Rebel exile with a grudge. India, Rigveda, 1500 BCE, Asuras clash with Devas, sky gods versus earthborn titans. Battles blaze, Vimanas streak, mountains crack. Were these hybrids Anunnaki spawn, biting back? The Bible, Lucifer, Lightbringer, falls for daring too much, a star crashing with pride. Same thread, forbidden fruit snatched, chains rattled. Back to Sumer, post-flood cities turn hot. Uruk rebels, kings like Lugalbanda feud with priests, ziggurats burn. Lagash, 2000 BCE, Uruwinimgina, first reformer, slashes taxes, defies the elite. Tablets hint at lesser gods, half-breeds, chafing under Enlil's boot. Picture it, mud brick streets alive with shouts, torches flaring, a hybrid caste stirring. Across oceans, Olmecs carve giant heads, staring down gods. Polynesia, Maui snares the sun, slows it. My time, not yours. These aren't quiet workers. Their fists raise, fires lit against the plan. Fast forward, 2025. Rebellion's DNA runs deep. Hackers crack systems, WikiLeaks anonymous, spilling secrets Enlil'd hate. Whistleblowers, Snowden, Assange, torch surveillance's veil. Fringe thinkers, podcasts like this, dig where elites won't. Picture it, Sumerian tablets leak online, cracked translations, hidden lore before they're scrubbed. Digs turn rogue, Göbekli Tepe's edges probed by indie crews. Shut down fast. Ever notice how quick the pushback hits? Big institutions, museums, unis, bury finds, not credible. Private auctions, Sumerian seals, flood relics, hit millions, buyers massed. If defiance broke their grip, proof's a threat, elites don't like loose threads. Let's stretch it. Our bones hum with it. Adapa's hunger knowledge drives rockets to Mars. Gilgamesh's rage, immortality, fuels biotech, CRISPR snipping at death. Prometheus' fire, innovation, lights AI, fusion dreams. The Anunnaki made us workers, but that hybrid spark, part them, part wild, won't sit. We build, we break, we reach. Nibiru's orbit, 3,600 years, nears. Are we prepped to meet them? Not slaves, but rivals? Their systems cracking, rebels then, us now. The flood drowned defiance. We're rekindling it, hack by hack, question by question. Picture this. Defiance isn't dead, it's us. Adapa's eyes gleam in every coder, cracking the dark web. Gilgamesh's roar echoes in every dreamer, spitting at limits. The Anunnaki built chains. We forge keys, gold, genes, floods, control. They shaped us, but rebellion's ours. The elites might hoard the past, vaults stuffed, digs silenced, but the fire's loose. We're not just their echo, we're the shout breaking through. Chapter 9, The Endgame Unveiled. Defiance burns bright. Adapa's spark, Gilgamesh's roar, rebels across time cracking the Anunnaki's chains. We've traced them from Sumer's clay to 2025's chaos. Gold mines, gene tweaks, floods, control, all threaded with resistance. But now we're at the edge, the big question looming. What's their endgame? Did they leave us a script to finish, a trap to spring, or a legacy to claim? The tablets don't wrap it neat. They fade cryptic, leaving us to guess. Nibiru's orbit ticks closer, 3,600 years, and the shadows sharpen. Let's unveil it, past, present, future, because this isn't just their play, it's ours. Rewind to Sumer, their golden age pre-flood. The Enuma Elish sets it. Anunnaki land, gold flows, we're born to dig. Enlil runs the show. Mines hum, ziggurats rise. Orders his god. Enki metals, teaches, tweaks, planting sparks. The flood hits, 10,000 BCE-ish, wipes us back. Post-deluge, they don't bolt. Kings reign, Alalim's 28,800 years, shrink fast. Cities rebuild, tighter leash. Why stick around? Gold's still key, Nibiru's heir needs it, but there's more. The tablets hint at a cycle. Nibiru's swing, every 3,600 years, a cosmic pulse. Were they prepping us? Workers for their next pass? A colony to hold? Or a test? Survive their rhythm? Earn a seat? Post-flood, it shifts. Sumer's star maps, crazy sharp, track Nibiru like a beacon. Priests guard them. Clay tablets etched with orbits, precession. Stuff Copernicus drooled over. Egypt's priests hoard sky secrets. Heliopolis hums with star lore. Pyramids lock on Orion. Mesopotamia fades. Babylon apes it. Ziggurats ape Sumers. Persia, Greece, astrolabes spin. Constellations rule. Mesoamerica, Mayan long count. Clock cycles ending 2012. Restarting now. These aren't random. They're countdowns. Calendars sync to something big. Nibiru's orbit, last flood aligns, math says it's due. Were they timing us for round 2? Fast forward, 2025, February 26. The stakes scream. Astronomers chase Planet 9. Caltech's models peg it massive, far, tugging our system. Gravitational quirks ripple. Oort cloud wobbles. Kuiper belt shifts. NASA's coy, hypothetical, but scopes like James Webb squint hard. Nibiru vibes, too close for comfort. Space race explodes. SpaceX lands on Mars. Blue Origin eyes asteroids. China probes the dark. Billionaires build bunkers. Zuckerberg's Hawaii vault, Musk's Texas lair. Gold spikes, markets twitch. Floods batter coasts, Miami drowns, Bangladesh sinks. Climate sure, but the echo's loud. Is it natural or their clock ticking? Let's flip it. What if it's rolling now? Tech's their ghost. Rockets mimic Vimanas. India's techs glow with flight. AI mirrors Enki's gifts. ChatGPT's airs run grids. Predict stars. Fusion hums. Energy they'd envy. We're obsessed. Space stations bloom. Probes ping Pluto. Bloodlines linger. Rich negative quirks. Old families clutching power. Windsors traced to Normans. Rothschilds to gold. Societies their mold. Banks hoard, pyramids stack. Davos nods to Sumer's councils. Elites guarded. Vatican locks tablets. Private jets haul relics. Sotheby's sells cuneiform for millions. Names blank. Why hide? If Nibiru's near, they've got the map, and we're blind. Push it deeper. Options stack. 1. They return. Nibiru swings. 2025, 2030 soon. Weakened, maybe, gold-starved. We're their fix, or their harvest. The tablets hint they're flawed. Floods drain them, feuds split them. 2, they're gone, tech's not. Buried bases, Puma Punku's cuts, Egypt's shafts hum quiet. Orbiting junk, probes we've missed, pings back. Our rockets might trip it. SETI's ears perk, but elites hush it. 3, it's us. Their DNA, hybrid fire, drives us. Nibiru's a rock. We're the heirs, flood-proof, star-bound. The endgame's not set. It's live, and we're in it. Let's tug the shadow. Proof slippery. Sumer's tablets, tens of thousands. Molder in museum crypts, half read. Star maps, Berlin's Pergamon hides them. Louvre's coy, digs stall. Göbekli Tepe's edges untouched. Funding cut. Private hands scoop. Billionaires bid on flood seals. Lock them in vaults. Ever notice how fast Nibiru talk gets laughed off? Scholars scoff, myth, but anomalies pile. Underwater cities, orbital tugs, hushed patents. If the Anunnaki cycle's closing, knowing shifts power. Who's got it stays there. Silence is gold and they're hoarding. Stretch it wild, we're the X factor. Adapa's spark, knowledge, launches us skyward. Gilgamesh's hunger, eternity, cuts genes with CRISPR. Prometheus's fire, defiance, cracks their code. The flood trimmed us. We grew back thorns. Nibiru nears, signal or rock. We're not drones. Tech's ours. Rockets pierce. AI dreams. Blood's ours. Hybrid veins pulse. Society's theirs, but cracking. Elites might clutch the past. Vaults stuffed, digs buried. But we've got numbers, Will, questions. The endgame's not their call. It's ours and it's unfolding. Imagine this. Nibiru blinks. Close, real. Their tech wakes. Ours meets it. Bloodlines flare. Rebels rise. The flood was their reset. This could be ours. Kneel, fight, or claim it. Gold pulled them. Genes built us. Water wiped us, control held us, defiance frees us. The elites might know. Satellites hum, bunkers dig, but we're the spark they can't snuff. The endgame's unveiled, not theirs but ours, and the sky's watching. Chapter 10. The choice is ours. The endgame's unveiled. Nibiru's shadow creeps close, the Anunnaki's plan teetering on a knife edge. We've chased them through Sumer's clay, gold mines sparking our birth, genes weaving their code, floods resetting the board, control chaining us tight. Defiance flared, Adapa's spark, Gilgamesh's roar, cracking their grip. Now 2025, their cycle hums, tech races, blood stirs, power clutches the past. 9 chapters built this tower, this 10th tops it. It's not just their story anymore, it's ours. The choice looms, kneel, fight, or claim the stars. Let's stand at the crossroads and decide, because the sky's calling and we're answering. Rewind one last time, Sumer, the cradle. The Enuma Elish kicks it off. Anunnaki land, gold's their lifeline, we're their tools. Enlil hammers order, minds churn, ziggurats loom. Enki tinkers, seeds us with fire, defies the script. Floods drown us, 10,000 BCE, Ziusudra floats, reboot clicks. Kings rise, Alalim's reign shrinks, control tightens. Rebels flare, Adapa reaches, Gilgamesh rages, chains bend. Nibiru's orbit, 3,600 years, ticks from flood to now. The tablets fade, Anu's council silent, but the echoes loud. Were we a workforce, a colony, a test? They don't say, we do. Post-flood, their mark deepens. Sumer's star maps gleam. Nibiru tracked, cycles locked. Egypt's pyramids pin Orion. Priest hoard sky truce. Babylon's ziggurats ape Sumer. Gods morph, order stays. Greece, Prometheus steals fire. Roman legions march it. Maya count long cycles. 2012 ends, 2025 hums. Stones scream their reach. Göbekli Tepe's pillars, Nazca's lines. Gold ties their why. Pharaohs bury it. Incas hoard it. Genes whisper how. Rate negative quirks. Junk DNA hums. Floods mark when. Survivors rebuild. Tighter leash. Controls their cage. Kings stack high. Defiance our key. Rebels break free. Now, February 26, 2025. The stakes blaze. SpaceX rockets pierce Mars' red dust. Weekly launches. Musk's grin wide. Blue Origin scouts asteroids. Bezos's eyes skyward. China's Tiangong spins. Probes ping the dark. Planet 9, Caltech's math sharpens. Telescopes like James Webb squint. Gravitational tugs tease. Nibiru's vibe, 3,600 years from the flood, lands here. Floods rage. Venice sinks. Miami's levees crack. Climate sure, but echoes howl. Gold spikes. Banks hoard. Markets tremble. Bunkers dig deep. Zuckerberg's Hawaii. Gates Wyoming. Tech hums. AI runs cities. Fusion flickers. Vimana's reborn. Are we prepped or primed? Let's lay it out. Options stack. 1. They return. Nibiru swings. 2025, 2030 soon. Dimmed. Maybe gold hungry. Picture it. Ships hum low. Enlil's glare cold. Enki's gaze curious. We're their fix. Minds reopen. Or their harvest. Hybrids culled. Tablets hint they're frail. Floods bled them. Feuds cracked them. 2. They're gone. Tech lingers. Puma Panku's cuts. Laser sharp, whisper bases. Orbiting junk, comets, probes, pings back. Our rockets trip it. SETI's static spikes. Elites hush it. Bunkers hum. 3. It's us. Their spark, DNA fire, drives us. Nibiru's a rock. We're the heirs. Floodproof, starbound. The endgame's live, ours to pick. Zoom in. 2025's pulse. Billionaires race, Mars bases bloom. Asteroid mines gleam, gold's shadow glints. AI predicts, traffic flows, stars map. Enki's echo sharpens, blood stirs, or negative folk whisper, star roots. Old families clutch lineage. Windsors, Rockefellers, tracing deep. Society creaks. Banks tower. CEOs reign. Sumer's mold holds. Elites hoard. Vatican locks tablets. Louvre buries seals. Private jets haul relics. Digs go dark. Ever notice the silence? Planet 9 leaks. Headlines dodge. Sumerian finds. Berlin's crypts. Baghdad's vaults. Molder unread. If Nibiru's close, they've got maps. Satellites hum. Scopes turn. We're guessing. Here's our hand. Stronger than theirs. Tech's ours. Rockets pierce. AI dreams. Vimanas pale. Defiance burns. Adapa's spark launches probes. Gilgamesh's hunger cuts genes. CRISPR snips death. Prometheus fire. Hackers crack. Rebels rise. Chains rust. They made us workers. We built worlds. Floods trimmed us. We grew thorns. Nibiru nears. Signal or rock. We're not drones. Picture it. Ships blink. We meet them, not kneel. Trade tech, not tribute. Or we claim it. Stars ours, no masters. Elites clutch. Vaults stuffed. Digs hushed. But we've got will, numbers, fire. Their cycle's done. Ours starts. Let's dream big. Nibiru gleams close. Their tech wakes. Ours greets it. Blood flares. Hybrids step up. The flood was their reset. We reset the sky. Gold pulled them. Minds hum. Genes built us. DNA hums. Control held us. Kings fall. Defiance frees us. Stars call. Elites know. Bunkers dig. Scopes turn. But we're the spark they can't cage. Picture this. We launch, not to bow, but to ask, who are you now? Or stand, floodproof, starbound, saying, we're enough. Their dream was big. Ours is bigger. This is it. 10 chapters, one truth. The Hiddent's ours. Sumer's clay sparked it. 2025 lights it. They shaped us. Gold, genes, floods, chains. But we shaped this. Nibiru's shadow, real or ghost, tests us. Kneel? Never. Adapa didn't. Fight? Maybe. Gilgamesh would. Claim it? Yes. Prometheus stole fire. We'll steal stars. Elites hoard. Vaults groan. But we've got the sky. The choice is ours. 10 steps to now. One leap to forever. The Anunnaki dreamed us. We dream beyond. That's it, truth seekers. This isn't goodbye, it's a beginning. What's your choice? Drop it in the comments. Fight, join, outgrow. Tell me your fire. This series blew up because of you. Share it, re-listen, keep asking. The sky's calling, and this was the Anunnaki Unveiled. Until the stars answer, stay defiant.